Yes! Welcome to AHA. Did we luck out this week? We have the author of Beyond the Great Abyss. So you've been there, yes?
I've been there and through it.
Yes, so, and it's not just an ordinary abyss either, right?
Very deep.
This is a deep, and it's a great abyss, right?
a great, big,
yes,
deep
look
abyss.
at that picture in the. So, why don't you describe the abyss a little bit for us?
Well, you know,
this is Becky Chambers, by the way.
Yes.
And who you could, you could find out about this at beyondthegreatabyss.com.
Yes. Yes, that's my blog.
Yes.
And from there you can find out
all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So tell us about this abyss.
Well, the abyss in the title refers to both my childhood and many, many years of misery. And it really applies also, though, to that when you're making a change. So that's scary. That scary feeling when you're about to make a big change. So the book actually starts a month before I get divorced, and I'm petrified, basically. So that's an abyss in the present.
Yeah, that was a long marriage.
I was married for 23 years. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yes.
And in my childhood, I was very alone. I was depressed most of my childhood and first 30 years. Really.
Was there a happy moment that you can remember?
In my childhood? Oh yeah, absolutely. My father, I was very close to my father in my early years, and he used to read bedtime stories to us and make up bedtime stories.
And make them up?
Yeah. Yes. And I was very close to my dad for many, many years. Then, not during the worst period, during my teenage years, in your teenage years, and my depression hit big time, and I just really wasn't close to anybody at that point for a period. But in my 20s, I sort of kind of crashed. And after that, I was very close to my father. He was sort of a big lifeline for me for the next week. Up until now, he's almost gone. He has Parkinson's, end-stage Parkinson's. So, but the Great Abyss, it's when you're about to make a leap, a big change in your life, and it's petrifying.
Yeah.
And getting divorced is a pretty big change.
Yes.
A huge change.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But this is an extraordinary story because it's such a healing story. So you're in this very unhappy marriage. You've had a depressed childhood, right, for the most part, except for a good relationship with your dad for some of the time with these. And then.
Yeah. So I get divorced, and life goes kind of wild. I've been doing for many years now, like 15 years. And the book starts 4 years ago, but for the last 15 years, I've been doing a lot of really powerful energy therapies. And that's why I wrote the book in a lot of ways, because I want to help people understand how powerful these energy therapies are to help you change your emotional and psychological and physical, all of the states of your life, of your body and your being. And when you change your emotional and psychological state, you change the energy. This is changing your energy, and then everybody's heard of the law of attraction at this point. It's what you're putting out is what you draw to you. So you end up changing your entire life. And my life is radically changed, no question about it. And I've been doing a lot of energy therapy for about 15 years.
And there are two very simple parts of this energy therapy, yes?
Yeah, there's two major types of energy therapy that I use that made such a transformation. One is whole body vibration, which is this machine you stand on, and it vibrates and sends vibration through your whole body. And energy is vibration. Our energy is vibration. Every molecule on the planet is vibrating. And so it's a powerful system of changing your energy. And then constitutional homeopathy.
And you stand on the energy vibrator for how long?
I got up to doing close to an hour a day. But you don't need to do that, actually. I don't want people to think, they have to devote an hour a day. If you do 10 minutes a couple of times a week, you'll see a lot of changes. But 10 minutes maybe daily, it would be ideal.
And you program it for certain kinds of vibrations? Is that
you can, but that's not so critical.
But this would be different than some of these exercises in gyms where you're bicycling.
Completely different.
Yes.
Completely different.
So what does it feel like when you're on it? Is it when you're on it?
It feels like a massage.
Oh, yes?
It feels great.
Oh,
and people kind of think they can do it forever. But
yes.
It's very, very powerful change, detoxification of energy and chemicals. So you don't want to do a lot. You've got to start slow and build up slowly to make your body, so your body can get used to it and become strong enough to tolerate it.
So eventually this could hit gyms and so on. People could, yes?
You know what? That's a really good question.
Yes.
A really good point, because there are a lot of vibration machines now in spas and gyms and things. They are starting to get them. But I have to give you a big warning, a big word of caution.
Yes.
They don't understand the energy and natural health aspect of these vibration machines. They think it's exercise equipment, and they're made by exercise equipment companies.
Yes.
And they're all using the wrong machine. They go for a too powerful machine, and it has a negative aspect to it that can be pretty destructive.
So this is a more subtle machine.
You want a more gentle machine, because of various reasons. The ones in the gyms are not really that safe.
And these are not too expensive, right? These machines?
No, the one that is super therapeutic that I use is $1,000.
Yes.
And for what it's doing, and you use it every day for the rest of your life, and every day you're doing it, every time you use it, you essentially get an acupuncture treatment, reflexology, a massage, a workout. It's like you spent the whole day at a spa and working out, and it took 10 minutes.
And this is wonderful because
it's incredible.
Here you are, you're depressed from childhood for the most part, and in a marriage that is very codependent. The husband wants you to take care of him. And eventually you're getting better. And it's not through therapy, it's not through any of these you're not tempted to do that either.
No, I already did that.
You had that notice?
Yeah, I had plenty of experience with that.
And it didn't help you?
No, not really. No, I'm sorry, but you talk about how depressed you are for forever. You just keep talking about how horrible it was, and you keep blaming your mother and your father and whatever, and you're still depressed.
Yes.
And I took drugs, and I did talk therapy, and sometimes with a lot of drugs I would get a little better. But I never changed the way I have now. This is just a whole nother level.
You can see it now, but this is part one. Now part two was constitutional homeopathy.
Yes, constitutional homeopathy. So the vibration, one of the things it's doing is it's helping to bring negative energy and stored energy, negative thoughts and feelings and baggage sort of from your childhood and possibly from past generations through your DNA and even past lives, maybe, if you believe in that. And you have all these stored negative thoughts and feelings about your life, trauma in your life. And we all do. And we hold that deep inside of us, and it affects us. It keeps hanging around and causing problems, and we're dealing with the same issues over and over and over in our lives very often. Think about it. You've got some kind of issue. Everybody has some kind of issue. You move to another relationship, and there it is again. Same problem.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. This is a way of truly letting go of these problems.
By we're still talking about the vibrations?
I'm combining them because they work together.
Yes.
The vibration brings them to the surface, one by one, in they're layered in like an onion. And you've got to bring them to the surface, and then the homeopathy triggers the release. And you've got to take the homeopathy and release that negative energy, or it will tend to hang around.
So the vibration machine will just vibrate those negative things that are in our cells, and bring them to what? The surface? You're aware of them? Is it difficult?
Actually, because what happens as they come to the surface, physical problems that are associated with those negative energies, that are highly associated with negative thoughts and feelings, will also suddenly appear. So suddenly you'll have like some bizarre physical symptom reappearing that was gone long ago, or that you maybe never even had before. Or like a problem that you've had but it wasn't bothering you too much, suddenly gets worse. That's a sign that this negative energy has risen to the surface, and it's time to take a constitutional homeopathy.
Oh, so they really need to work together.
Homeopathic, and let it go. Yeah. Yeah, they do. They work together just phenomenally well, and you end up practically going through like lifetimes worth of change in a short period of time.
I'm talking to Becky Chambers, who has written Beyond the Great Abyss, and beyondthegreatabyss.com. People could find out about this.
Yes.
On the blog. But this is just the beginning of it.
Yeah.
So, so you're healing in this marriage, which had its very wonderful things. I saw some of the you were carpenters together and
created beautiful carpentry.
Beautiful.
And he's
Yes. So that part was wonderful. And you had the courage to leave this one. He wasn't changing the way you were.
Right.
And then you met.
Well, first I met Ricky.
Yes. Yes.
And Ricky was really sweet and loving and gentle and spiritual, and he was like this great person to meet when I was like hurting so bad from the divorce.
Yes.
And he was very safe, and actually he reminded me of my father.
Yes.
Maybe terrible.
We don't need to. Yes. Now that we have these vibration machines and homeopathy, we don't even need to go there.
Well, it's still a process.
Yes.
To let go, and life is still a circular journey where the same problems will come back, but you can really see major progress.
Yes.
You can see yourself moving up in like a spiral.
So the same things might come, but it's in a different
absolutely.
way.
There's serious progress being made. So I get involved with Ricky, but he's not really fully available, and he's not really the right person for me, and there's problems with that. And then comes Victor. Yes, then Victor. I meet Victor about a year after I got divorced, and Victor is just an amazing character. The book would not exist without Victor. I think he's amazing.
So he has helped in the healing also. You would say?
Yes, absolutely. As I say in the, I think it's the where you thank people, acknowledgements, that he is one of my greatest gifts and one of my greatest challenges in life.
But also because you were healed before you met him?
Not fully. I'm enormously moved forward.
You're not depressed anymore?
No more depression. No, the depression is gone. Right.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. I mean, for 30 years, and clinical depression, and tons of drugs, and
And you didn't need a great love to do that. Ricky was not a nice person. Yes.
He was right, and I thought I was in love with him at one point there.
Yes.
But mostly, I pretty much knew from the beginning.
But that wasn't the healing.
It was healing.
That was
absolutely.
Healing too. Yes. Oh, I see.
Everybody was healed.
Yes.
They're all meant to.
That means you too. If we're meeting, this is a healing experience. I hope you.
Every experience and nothing is a coincidence.
Wow. Again, this is Becky Chambers, beyondthegreatabyss.com. You can find out on her blog about this healing journey. Maybe it's not even a journey. It's healing.
Oh, it still is. Well, healing, it's a growth journey at this point. It's and healing. Life is always healing. Maybe, I don't know. It's a growth journey. I'm growing in ways I never expected. My career and my ability to reach other people is growing.
Which you didn't have before,
That's right. I didn't have the ability to tell other people about what's going on, but should we tell them right now what's possibly happening in this?
Yeah, sure. Oh, the movie, if you'd like. Sure.
Yeah. Well, the book is, I met a woman on a plane a few months ago, and she from LA, and she's in the movie industry, and she got real excited about the book, and it looks highly likely that it will become a major motion picture, as they say. So she's going to personally hand it to all the big time producers and tell them to read it.
Look how happy Becky looks. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm super excited.
It's very lovely. Yeah, I know who would not be. So you meet Victor, and there's two other people that are part of this healing. There's the medical intuitive.
There's Dr. DiOrio, yes. He's the one who's been helping me for 15 years to change. He's a medical doctor, but he does all energy and natural health. He's out in California. I met him about 15 years ago. I've been doing homeopathy and vibration with him for years.
And on the phone with him mostly, yes?
Yeah, because he's a medical intuitive.
He's a medical intuitive. There's two medical.
He just senses what's wrong with me and knows what I need and gives it to me. And it's been phenomenal.
And what would be one thing he would give you? What would you
well, a lot of the homeopathic remedies, the constitutional
what
homeopathics.
What would be one?
Well, he gave me a bunch for depression. He gave me Aurum. I was just finishing up Aurum, which is the Latin word for gold, when the book starts, and it is known for chronic, debilitating, intractable depression, is what it's basically used for. And at the end of that, and I'd taken a number of different remedies for different layers and levels of depression.
Yes.
That was the last one I needed for depression, and I haven't had any depression since.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that great?
And there's another intuitive, yes?
Yes, then there's more of a psychological intuitive. She counsels me psychologically, whereas Dr. Diorio is more medical.
Yes.
And her name is Jean Mayel, and she's been phenomenally helpful in helping guide me through a very wild and dangerous period these last 4 years. The book is basically, it reads like a thriller. It's full of romance and danger and sex, and it's a lot of fun to read. So, but she was really extremely helpful in guiding me. She would get visions. She would know, just like Dr. Diorio gets information from the vibrations that I give off. She would be able to sense my vibrations and get information from that and know what was going on with me. Oh, I gotta tell you what happened with my father, because he's another intuitive that's in the book.
Yes.
He starts out, and most of my life, he's completely not intuitive.
He's a scientist,
He's a scientist, yes. He went to MIT, he's a physicist, he's a musician, he's a sweet, 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 loving man, and very artistic and a musician, but he's not intuitive. He thinks that's nuts, actually, most of my life, and he thought all that energy stuff was crazy. And what happened is he had Parkinson's. He's had that for 10, 15 years. And about 6 months into the book, he falls and breaks his hip, and he has to get hip replacement surgery, and they do general anesthesia. You know, it's a huge deal. And they put him under, and he loses his logical left brain. He loses his mind, basically. He never comes back from the surgery and the anesthesia. And everybody else thinks he's completely lost his mind, because he's now, doesn't really make any sense when he talks. But if you're listening closely and you know what you're listening for, and you are open to intuition, he's now talking in symbolic language, because intuition is usually symbolism, symbolic. Not always, but sometimes. So he's talking to me in symbolic language about my life. And he's like blowing my mind, because he knows everything about me now without me telling him. Everything that's going on in my life. I'll tell you a hilarious story. And this one wasn't symbolic, but it's just so bizarre. Okay, so there was Ricky, and then there was Victor, who's a very scary, dangerous, actually, man when I first meet him. He's got a lot of buried rage, and from a trauma in his life about 20 years earlier. And it's kind of like a volcano, buried rage, but he doesn't really even know that it's there. It's buried. He thinks it's gone, but it's not. So he's you got to be very careful around him. Anyway, all right. So first there's Ricky, then there's Victor, and because I'm kind of afraid of Victor, I can't let go of Ricky. So actually, there's two at the same time for a while there. And when I go to see my dad, which I do regularly, I don't tell him anything scary, because the man is like, very fragile and barely there, and I wouldn't want to upset him, so I never tell him anything scary, always nice, happy things. And I walk in one day, and he says to me, there has been a meeting of 3, including Ricky, Victor, and myself. And we've been discussing your sex life. I fell off my chair. I was just like, what? First I'll laugh at. What? He never said anything to me like that before in my life.
Yes.
But he felt everybody's energy, and he knew what was going on, and they were not happy about it. These two guys, they did kind of know that the other one was around, and they were not at all happy about it. And they got together with my dad and said, you need to get this girl in line. She's not behaving properly.
And you told your father, and you were amazed that because he just intuited this, right? He didn't,
Oh, it was unbelievable.
he never met these people.
He never met them. You know, okay, listen to this stuff. Victor, my father started asking me about Victor a month before Victor showed up. I would go to see him and he'd say, how's Victor? And I would say, Victor? I don't know any Victors. I don't know. And then the next time I'd go, he'd say, how's Victor? I don't know. I don't know any Victors. That went on for a month. And then Victor showed up.
Wow.
Yeah. So not only, you know, when you're intuitive and you're connected with the spirit and energy, you know what's going on now, and you know what's going on. There is time in the energy world is a very flexible, fluid thing. It doesn't really almost exist in a way, and you know what's happening in the future, you know what happened in the past. And he did. He knew it all. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And you also have your medical, not your medical intuitive, your psychological intuitive.
Right, Jean.
And you
Jean Mayo.
sit with her,
Yeah.
sometimes for many hours.
Yeah. When there's something really urgent, like the day after I met Victor.
Yes.
And he stays with me, and they start this wild love affair, and I think, you know, I'm all excited. I meet him, and he seems so exciting. He's very, very amazing and amazingly powerful energy person. And but the next day I go to see Jean Mayo, and she tells me she has all these visions, and they're pretty scary about me and Victor. And like one of them, I'm standing on a beach, and Victor is a crocodile lying in wait to grab me and pull me underwater and swirl me around. And he doesn't really want to kill me, she says, but he wants to own me in his world and keep me in his world. And
you had not even told her you had met?
I told her only his name. I told her his name. Yeah. Well, this is the same one my father is like, knows is coming a month before.
Oh, I see. I see.
He has a very powerful energy. Very powerful.
Oh, so when you met someone with this name, you must have known, as soon as you said, what is your name, you must have...
Yes, I was like, oh, wow.
Wow. And did your father know you had finally met him, or he...
Oh, yeah, he would...
And your father's still around?
A lot of things. Well, he's just barely around.
Is he still doing these?
Almost, like, half the time he doesn't know who I am anymore, which is really sad.
But half the time he does know.
Well, occasionally a little bit.
And does he say things like this anymore?
No, you can't really understand. There's an occasional word that's a true word,
right.
But mostly he's pretty gone, and it's sad. But you know what? He's still the amazing thing is he is still actually happy. Bizarrely enough, most of the time he sings to himself and he hums and he talks to himself. It's like being with a baby, a happy baby.
That makes sense,
yeah. And he still is like incredible loving presence, but he's like far away. You know, he's not really a part of this world anymore. I try to touch him and reach him, you know, and he tries to reach.
And you touch him when you...
Well, of course I'm touching him, but I mean, I try to reach him on a mind level, a brain, emotional, a little bit. And he knows, like, I'm sure he feels my energy still, and he likes, being around me. But like one day he looked at me and he said, "Are you a nice person?" He looked at me like all surprised. "Who are you?" He says, "Are you a nice person?" Right. I'm like, yes, I'm a nice person.
Did he meet Victor?
He did meet Victor early on a few times.
And he knew it was Victor, or?
Yeah. And he liked Victor. Some of the time. Yes. He could see all the different sides of Victor, and he told me he was amazing. One day I went to see him, and he said that he had been researching Victor. And I said, "Well, what did you find out?" And he said, "Fantastic."
Wow! Oh my! Blessings from your father.
Yeah.
So we're almost. We still have 3.5 minutes.
Wow!
So if you'd like to, things, and I'm speaking with Becky Chambers, and her book is Beyond the Great Abyss. And
move your fingers here, because you're covering over here. See, the picture is a beautiful woman. It's not me, because I was a little shy.
Yeah.
Putting my face on the cover.
Yes.
And then this side is a great white snowy owl.
Yes.
which is it's a story of transformation and taking on energy, and I become sort of the great white snowy owl.
You have felt that you were, yes?
Yeah, because a great white snowy owl symbolizes power and wisdom. And actually, I got the idea because I go to see Jean Mayel about 2.5 years into the book or so, and she has a vision where I'm a little owl, and she says that the reason I was a little, she sees a little owl is because I had great wisdom, and that's why I did not run away from Victor, that I knew that I could help him. Because a lot of the book is about Victor and me struggling and me trying to help him and both of us growing and transforming. And despite everybody telling me to run away from him, I didn't. And she said this because so she sees this little owl, and then she goes back and she does, in her sort of trance state again, and she comes back from that and she says, now I see a great white snowy owl, and you are the great white snowy owl. It's power. You've grown in power, and you still have the wisdom, but you have much more power. So that was so inspiring. I ended up starting the book with an image of that, and it ended up on the cover. Right, great cover.
Yes.
So.
Well, so we're going to say goodbye. We have about 48 seconds.
I have to thank you, Michael,
for
having me here, and you've done a wonderful job that you do interviewing people.
Thank you. But it must be helpful to know that you have an intuitive that can help you.
Oh, when you're phenomenal.
Are you
kidding? Plus, now I'm very intuitive myself. I became, under the stress of dealing with all these situations,
yes,
I became very intuitive myself. Danger can actually trigger. When you need to know information in order to survive,
yes,
that triggers intuition.
Yes, yes. So, on that happy note,
there you go.
Thank you.